guys, welcome back. Sorry about the messy hair. It started pouring rain outside. So, Happy Gilmore 2.
In my brain, this movie, maybe the last 2 years we started thinking about it. Before that, we were like, now why the hell would we do that?
I don't know what Adam Sandler was thinking, but I have a few thoughts that I'd like to share about Happy Gilmore 2. Now, I'm one of those people who grew up watching Happy Gilmore. That and Nacho Libre were like my family's two cult classics. I love Happy Gilmore 1, watched it more times than I care to admit. And I just don't understand why they made a second one. It didn't need to happen. And frankly, you can tell they tried way too hard. I will say though, based on the trailer, I thought it was gonna be way worse. I mean, you look at the trailer, I don't know if they had multiple trailers, by the way, but you look at the trailer and it was just a sequence of really cheap jokes and just like tacky punchlines paced with, golf swingings and superhero music or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, this whole premise of one golf game to save the humanity or save the future of golf just seemed a little bit far-fetched to me. I like this idea of traditional golf being, or like some people wanting to modernize traditional golf and some people being like, yo, not gonna happen. That could have been a cool intrigue, I guess, but the one game to finish them all or whatever, I don't know, a little bit far-fetched. The beginning was so violent. The beginning of the movie was so good. The first 20 minutes or so I thought were really worth it. The opening premise, and spoilers by the way, but I think you figured. The opening premise of like Happy Gilmore lost everything. He had kids with Virginia and then he killed her and then he lost Grandma's house. That was the most brutal and violent beginning. And I was just like, oh, they're going in. They really are going in. And I thought, frankly, that was a really cool beginning of the story. I just thought, that kind of gained my respect for the rest of the movie after the crappy trailer I saw. But then too much started to happen. So the initial plot line almost of Happy wanting to go back to golf so he can make enough money to save, or like not save his daughter, but send her to, I'm just about saving, to send his daughter to ballet school in Paris. That, frankly, I think would have been enough of a storyline if you interweaved it with minor storylines moving forward. I think that would have been a great movie. The adding on of this whole second plot line of, the maxi games or whatever, that was just weird and unnecessary. I really enjoyed that the movie tried to include kind of brash humor, like early 2000s humor. So after watching the movie, I went to look at a few reviews online and someone explained it. I forget the name. I'll include it in the description if I remember. But someone mentioned something along the lines of they tried to include good humor from the original movie, like the same style of humor, which coincidentally is early 2000s humor that most 2025 public might not agree with, or something like that, with newer jokes, more tame jokes, I guess, or more kind of easy punchline jokes. And I have to agree with that. But the kind of joke that I'm talking about that I think does belong in this movie is like, when Shooter McGavin goes to Happy Gilmore's house to kind of discuss like what they should do or whatever, and he's sitting on the couch with the homeless guy who's living with Happy, and there's this TV show or whatever commercial, and Shooter just got out of like 30 years in an institution, so he didn't get the memo or whatever, and he's like makes this comment about the girl on TV and the guy's like, oh no, we respect women now, and he's like, huh? You know what? That's just Oops, sorry. That's just the kind of humor that I was expecting to see in the movie. I think there's a way to do that kind of humor correctly, without being actually offensive or you know, I don't know. That's just what I was hoping to see. That, to me, good writing is being able to teeter that line. There just seemed to be very clean humor, which was not in line with Happy Gilmore. I mean, I get it. He's a dad and everything, but that just really watered down his character to me. You know what I mean? Like this, I almost like this kind of farcical vision of him and his family where all the boys are just like total brutes and his daughters are just there like ballet and responsible and like taking care of her dad. Also, this whole idea of Happy being an alcoholic and just like snapping out of it like that. I don't know. Have you consulted with alcoholics? It was just seemed a little easy. It doesn't seem like there was a struggle. That's the thing with the movie. It seemed like there was no real struggle. It never feels like Happy is really struggling. He seems to overcome every hardship that comes his way fairly quickly. He ditches alcohol pretty quickly and he almost relapses, but he just, it's like one bathroom scene real quick where he's thinking of Virginia or whatever. And then there's, what was it? Oh, the owner from Maxie approaching him in the store and he's just like, see ya. And then there's Shooter coming back from the institution. They just like duke it out in one scene with everyone in the same graveyard, which is like a whole other thing. And then they're like magically best friends. I don't know. There's no core struggle. And that's kind of the same reason I completely could not get behind the new Star Wars trilogy or the most recent one, because Rey doesn't have that struggle that Luke and Anakin had, like that Cornelian choice they have to make at some point, you know? It just seems like there was way more at stake with his grandma and getting his house back. Like, it just seemed like he really, 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 really needed those, you know? This one, like I said, it seemed more legitimate to fight for his daughter and sending her to ballet school than it would to just fight for golf when he hadn't been in it for 10 plus years and it's just this one game to save it all. And, you know, it's just... This movie overall, I think, tried to please everyone. And by that, I mean, I think this movie should have been written for, number one, Happy Gilmore 1 superfans, or maybe not superfans, but people who grew up watching Happy Gilmore, like myself, and are in on the whole storyline, and number two, fans of golf. Now, it's somewhat done that way. I guess you can see it in the cameos where all of the golf players on Happy's team are actual golf players. I didn't notice personally until it was pointed out because I don't know any golf players. But again, I think you just need to pick a really niche audience. And the problem is this movie tried to cater to everyone. There were cameos all over the place. And they included clips from the original movie, which I think was a really bad move. I think even without changing the storyline, the movie would have been so much better without the extra scenes. Because it was just like, it felt like you had to explain the story or explain a joke. And there's nothing worse than saying a joke and having to explain it so that it lands. Like, it really, that's the energy it had. It was like, you don't understand what I'm saying. Look at this clip and laugh because it's totally funny. It just didn't work. It didn't work, and the tie-ins of the characters from the previous movies, so like Ben Stiller's character, I didn't recognize his character in the new one. I mean, apart from the whole extorting his, or people that depend on him thing, I guess was in line, and I guess his character was necessary for the last scene where everyone's running after him as a callback to the first movie. Sure, but it seems like his personality is completely different. Yeah, Eminem. First of all, I love Eminem. I think he was one of the too many cameos that was actually cool. Too many cameos that, frankly, I think no one recognized, again, tie in with the you're pleasing to everyone, therefore you're gonna please no one. That's just the rule, Eminem's character, like the son of the heckler, I think needed way more screen time. Again, Happy Gilmore getting over a barrier too quickly of like, oh, this heckler guy's coming back for me. Let me just let my kids punch you, whatever. Like, if it had actually been the heckler's kid and Happy really, really, really couldn't have punched him for not wanting to be kicked off, that would have been a good struggle to have for at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the movie. Yeah, I don't know. No, he was funny. I actually really enjoyed how his character was completely exaggerated and how the institution was kind of like portrayed as making him go completely nuts. I didn't mind that too much. Again, I think it's kind of like that humor from the previous movie that, I don't know. It kind of teeters the line of it worked and it didn't work. And I don't mind him and Happy being friends in the second movie. I just think it could have been for a different reason, again, than the whole Maxi games. I think the Maxi games should not have been a part of this movie, to be honest. And then, who else do we have? Chubb's son. Again, it was good to have him in there, but he just didn't bring anything much of value except for telling Happy, get over it and move on. Yeah, Chubbs' son should have played a bigger part as a mentor to Happy. I think he should have brought more expertise and maybe more comfort. I think Virginia Bennett we needed more happy places. We needed much more happy places. This whole thing of like when Virginia Bennett comes to him, like in the previous movie with like the 2 beers and everything, and he's like, oh no, I'm a dad now. It's gotta be PG, blah, blah, blah. And then she comes and talks to him. And then he's like, that's pretty much it for his happy place. And then his next happy place is him, playing a video game or something? Like, what? Where? That was like the peak opportunity to bring in actual characters from previous, things. Like, why didn't you bring in the heckler in the bad version of his happy place while the son is heckling him or something? Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I duke on the Happy, but all in all, I think a little part of me was happy to see him again for a little bit more. Like, it kind of catered to my inner child. Again, I think if they had really written the movie for fans of Happy Gilmore that grew up watching it to really, really nourish that inner kid, I would have loved it. I would have been head over heels. I got more than what I thought what I was going to get from having watched the trailer, but I don't know. I'm kind of sad that people are resurrecting, cult classics from the vault, seemingly just for the extra moolah. Let's call it what it is. I think they just wanted to dig it out because Hollywood is running out of ideas, and it was a great success. If they touch Nacho Libre, I'm gonna be so pissed. I am gonna be so pissed. Anyway, let's leave it at that. Okay, to my point, I just gotta cut in real quick because I'm watching an interview by Adam Sandler and Julie Bowen with Steve-O. They themselves say they thought it was not a good idea to bring this cult classic out of the dead because it's so beloved. And then they say, allude to the fact that people paid to be on the movie, which is why I'm assuming so many cameos happened by so many unknown people, frankly. All the influencers and whatever. I mean, not the place, not the time, ever. And then Adam Sandler is like really reluctant to answer the question of who paid to be on the movie. Yeah, okay. Okay, now we get it. So, that's too bad. I didn't mind Bad Bunny's character. I don't think it would have mattered if it was Bad Bunny playing or some other... Well, I don't know. I don't follow Bad Bunny at all, but whatever. I liked his character in the movie. A lot. But, again, it just... the hypocrisy of even them knowing that it was probably a bad idea, and then they're like, oh, we were so wrong. No, you were not wrong to assume that hardcore fans and people growing up watching Happy Gilmore didn't really need a remake. You were not wrong. Anyway, yeah, just had to say that. And another thing, sorry, I was eating a tortilla and came to a realization. So another reason I think the movie didn't work is because of the editing pace. Sorry, I thought I saw the cat. Is the editing pace. So in the first movie, there's a lot of very chill rock music, like Leonard Skinner, that hockey game music type of stuff. And it's even when the music is a little more upbeat, it's still chill. I don't know how to put it. Go watch it if you haven't seen it, and the editing as well, the scenes kind of move slower, whatever that means, in comparison to the second one, and it feels like the editing is it matches Happy's style and personality, right? And whereas in the second one, where the editing pace is just like go, 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 and the music it doesn't match his personality. Again, to my point, you're trying to edit and cater the movie to everyone's liking instead of to who the movie should be. Like, you're trying to make the movie's personality match everyone else's personality rather than making the movie match Happy Gilmore's personality and hoping that people will get on it, which we would have because it's what happened with the first movie. Remember? People liked it. Anyway, the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm getting mad at it. So I'm just gonna finish my tortilla and edit the video. Okay, bye. Again, it's easier to criticize a movie than it is to write it. Sure, but still. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the movie. If you did, let me know if you grew up watching Happy Gilmore. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, by the way, I'm trying a new camera angle. What do you think? Okay, bye.